Hello, Networking 101. You're now ready to take some of these tools to the street and begin networking with people who can help you reach the hiring manager inside your target companies. Networking can be done over the phone, in person, via email, or even over a cup of coffee or lunch. And as we all know today, most networking is happening over Zoom, online. So the main thing to remember is that in general, people want to help others. It makes them feel good about themselves. It boosts their self esteem to be considered a connector of people, opportunities, and information. And it makes them feel important. And of course, the bottom line is that these people really are quite important to your career success, just as you may have been very important to the career success of others in the past, and certainly will be again in the future. No matter what, don't ever let up on your networking efforts. About 90% of my clients land great jobs through their networks. It's not worth risking those odds to not be continually networking. It should be the primary focus of everything you do. The quantity and quality of your networking time is directly related to the personal, professional, and financial satisfaction you'll have in your next job. So just in case you're a little intimidated about this whole networking process, and again, you shouldn't be, let's review for a moment some of the reasons why someone would actually want to talk with you. They might secretly be looking for a job soon themselves, and they can learn from your approach. You never know. They might learn something new about their industry, their competition, or some new knowledge or perspective that you bring. They might learn something from you, and they might want to feel important, have their ego stroked, and feel that their advice is valued and respected. Many people genuinely want to help. So think about this. When it's done properly, networking is not about taking, but rather about giving. You must always come from an attitude of generosity during the networking process. When a networking conversation has been concluded, the other person should feel glad that you contacted them and feel genuinely enriched by the experience. This is the value of good networking. So let's put the pieces together. Networking is a lot simpler and less scary than many people think. You do not need to be a great schmoozer to network effectively. In fact, the best networkers are often great listeners more than great talkers. Here are the basic steps of the networking process that you will use, going forward, and even long after you land your next position. Because remember, you should always be networking. Use your contact list to find specific people to reach out to each day. Use the networking agenda below and adapt your own version of the networking script. We'll go over agendas and scripts shortly. Meet people in neutral locations if possible, over coffee, lunch, or breakfast. And again, we're doing that now mostly on Zoom. Leverage the notion of 6 degrees of separation. Ask for contacts from your contacts, and you will be able to connect with almost anyone. I know so and so that works at so and so that was with this company, does this thing, does that thing. Reach out by email, phone, or letter. The formula goes: meet, ask, listen, learn, think, thank. Okay? Do it again. Meet, ask, listen, learn, think, thank. Follow up after your meeting and keep the conversation going with a two-way value exchange. Don't love them and leave them. Grow your stay in touch network. So, it should be the primary focus of everything you do. The quantity and quality of the networking time is directly related to the personal and professional satisfaction you'll have in your next job. So again, these are good basic tips for networking. Keep these in mind as you go forward. Okay, we were talking a little bit about the networking agenda. So here's a basic agenda outline to follow. My main piece of advice for you is to, do this networking process. Just be yourself. Okay. Don't try to too hard during these networking meetings. Relax and follow the agenda as closely as you can. So you can begin by asking, is this a good time? If it isn't, identify a different time to call the person back. Once you get the conversation going and move it forward, this is the structure. So first thing you want to do is build rapport. Small talk. Some familiarity that you might have in common with this person. You know somebody that went to this school. You live in a certain neighborhood. You've done these things in the past. Simple rapport. Where have you been? So the positioning statement comes in here. Kind of what you've been doing currently while you're looking for another job. All this is part of the positioning statement. What happened? Use the departure statement. I'm currently looking because of such and such a thing. I got laid off, downsized. I left the company because. Okay? Ask for help. Would you be willing to help me? Simple enough. Simple question. So at this point, you should decompress. Take the pressure off. And just reassure them that you're not asking for a job. Ask again for help, expanding contact network, guidance, advice, feedback. What can you tell me about this particular industry? Are you in this particular industry? You know somebody that is. What do they say it's like? So again, at this point, you want to thank them, set a time to get back to them. And that's basically your common everyday agenda for a networking event. Now, in another video, we'll cover scripts, but that is networking for the 21st century, 2021. We'll be back and see you again shortly. Gary Hines, the Gary Hines Consulting.